Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter that if she and her husband can't afford IVF, then they can't afford a child? This might seem harsh line, but to provide some context, my daughter and her husband have been dealing with infertility for years. They've tried a number of options and IVF is their most recent one. The first round was paid for by me, but it didn't work. Second round was paid for by her dad. That too did not work. It got obviously emotionally and mentally exhausting having to get a negative result after another, so I suggested they take a break and they did. Months later, they visited me and said they were ready to try again. I said that was great and wished them luck. But turned out my daughter was expecting me to cover this round. I was taken aback. I mean, yes, I do have money like my son-in-law pointed out, but it's not about me and what I have. It's about them and what they have as future parents. My daughter looked confused, so I explained that to me, it seemed they're not ready. Because if they can't afford a round of IVF, then they can't afford a child. My daughter got offended, and her husband told me all I had to do was pay for it and let them worry about the rest. I declined to pay, which caused an argument between us. My daughter said that I was being cruel to speak to her and her husband like that. I said I think they're not ready and I'm just being honest. My son-in-law took over the talking and told me that I was just hiding behind the honest bullcrap, because that line was the most heartless thing he and my daughter had ever heard. I apologized that they misunderstood, but he told me I was being selfish because I had kids, and now I'm robbing them of this experience. I assured him that the last time I checked, I wasn't responsible for bringing grandchildren to this world. I've done my part in raising my children, and their problems are theirs alone, even if it seemed harsh. They left and my daughter was crying. Then her husband emailed me about how disappointed and let down my daughter felt because of what I said. I wanted to call her, but I'm waiting for her to calm down a bit and I can apologize. I'm unsure, so am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Your son-in-law told you he knows you have the money? Wow, I think you've been generous enough. Not the a-hole. I have to wonder, how come he doesn't have his hand out to his parents? The audacity of these two coming around like Opie has $15,000 burning a hole in her pocket every time they ask for it. Not stay home. My sister went through round after round of IVF and just about everything else the doctors had to offer, and successfully. When I was about to embark on fertility treatment, she gave me wise advice. Before you start, decide at what point you will stop. Because fertility clinics will always dangle before you another thing to try or another round of IVF again and again, ad infinitum. It's up to the couple to be realistic about what they can afford financially and emotionally. It seems that this couple has hit their limit, sad though it may be. This is great perspective. I've never thought about it this way before, but it makes perfect sense, especially with how much many clinics seem to push additional services these days. Especially unfortunate considering how extremely emotional and vulnerable people will be when it isn't successful. Not stay home. Wow, the entitlement is strong with these two. Sounds like you're correct. They're neither financially ready nor are they mature enough. Sorry and good luck. My parents used IVF to conceive me. My parents made sacrifices to save up for it, budgeted and picked up shifts, etc. It was rough at a time, I'm sure, to come up with that money, but they did. And that discipline and sacrifice is exactly why they have always been amazing parents. Being a parent isn't easy, and I think Opie's son-in-law and daughter lack the emotional maturity a good parent should have when they can't grasp how absurd these demands are. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend to shut the heck up in front of my whole family because of the comment he made about my sister's pregnancy? My sister, female 36, and her husband suffered from infertility for a long time, and yesterday we found that she's expecting, which was amazing. We were all happy for her because we know how much this meant to her and her husband, as they've been through so much heartbreak and disappointment in the past. She decided to gather the family and make the announcement at my parents' house. My boyfriend and I were invited too. We didn't know about it right away till post-dinner, when my sister got up from her seat, held her husband's hand and made the announcement. We, the women, all got up to congratulate her. Once we sat down, my boyfriend seemed puzzled. He tried to talk to my sister for a bit, then asked her to tell him how old she was again. My sister hesitantly said 36. He made a face and said, Wow, didn't know women at this age can still be functional when it comes to breeding. Sudden silence took over. My sister looked down, and then her husband lashed out at my boyfriend asking what the heck his problem was. My boyfriend tried to mumble something, but that's when I loudly told him, "Shut the hell up." He looked at me in shock, and my family stared at him. He seemed very offended and mad. He quickly got up, took his keys, and rushed out after saying, "Excuse me," which my mom replied, "Excuse you?" I apologized to my sister, but she started crying. So I was mad. I went home and had a fight with my boyfriend. He yelled about how I'd belittle him and insulted him in front of my family by telling him to shut the hell up. I told him what he did was not okay, and it ruined my sister's long-awaited announcement. He said he was giving facts, not personal opinions. I told him I did the same then. He got more agitated and said I owe him a huge apology after I insulted him publicly. I replied that he should have held his tongue. Facts or not. He went outside and then started giving me silence till I apologized for what I said. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. What facts does he think he was just saying? The fact that he's completely ignorant about women and fertility? He should be embarrassed. A friend's grandpa used to say, if you don't want to be embarrassed, don't do embarrassing things. Words to live by. Not stay home. Really think about if you want a guy that calls 36-year-old women non-functional and refers to pregnancy as breeding. That's objectifying as heck. What a a-hole. And before people think I'm talking about it being harder for women to get pregnant as they get older, I'm referring to his phrasing and the fact he thought that was something that was okay to say. I mean, he's also wrong in general. Getting pregnant at 36 is not really much more dangerous or difficult than someone 5 or even 10 years younger. After 40 is when some risks increase more dramatically, but they are also manageable for the most part with regular medical care. Not stay home because his opinion was awful, wrong, and frankly not asked for and unnecessary. Not stay home. He said something really inappropriate. You told him, appropriately, to stop talking, but let's look further into why he's upset. He claims he is upset that you disrespected him in front of others, and he now feels that his reputation is damaged, belittled, insulted, damaged pride, instead of supporting him as a couple. He doesn't even mention what he said, and does not include consideration for how you felt. You felt belittled, insulted, and highly embarrassed that the person you chose to spend your life with and to build a future with would say something so inappropriate in front of your family, about your family member at a moment of good news, that your pride and reputation was damaged by his behavior and your choice in partner. You can get up and leave, which he did, but you don't get that choice because it is family. You can do it in a moment, but you have to face them again because they're family. He uses the defense as giving facts. He literally used "I thought," which is an expression of personal thought process. Ask him if he knows what a fact is, what an opinion is, and how to express them with words. If he is able to, then ask him to apply his logic to his behavior and word choice. And yes, opinions can be based on facts, and facts are just statements that can be proven true or false. So there can be false facts. And he likely just assumed something was a fact to form his opinion, so it was an opinion based on false facts. He still demands an apology for disrespecting him in public? Tell him you do not owe him a damn thing. You did him a favor. 2 favors, actually. You stopped him from making another inappropriate statement/claim which improves his chances of forgiveness. And you made it appear that you were addressing the issue privately. So they are more willing to forgive him for his mistake, with the assumption that he now knows what he did was wrong. No, he does not deserve an apology. He needs to thank you profusely and to apologize to each family member. And not one of those "I'm sorry." No. He needs to look each in the eye, say "I'm sorry," and explain how he understands what he said was wrong, how bad his decision-making was, in detail, and how you helped him understand this. Then he needs to thank you for making him grow into a better version of himself. I know this is a lot, and it's only recommendations, but if you take my advice/breakdown and he refuses, seriously consider dropping him. If he's like this now, either he will never grow up or he will take about 30 years longer for him to become a better person than a normal person does. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for taking my mom's side when she called my wife a gold digger? I know the title sounds horrible and I feel weird because this is the first time I've ever sided with my mom over my wife. So my parents, divorced, are loaded. People sometimes think this means that I'm rich, but my dad hasn't given me anything since I was 21. And my mom stopped gradually but has not given me the same help she has given my sister. A home, cars, a trust. My mom doesn't know I know about this. I'm not saying they owe me anything, just establishing that I'm middle class. We got together as a family recently. This is very rare because my wife and my mom do not like each other. Someone brought up gold diggers, nothing in relation to my wife. My wife made a comment about how it must have been hard for me to date because women probably wanted my money. My mom responded, "What money?" My wife was like, "Well, there was a certain lifestyle." And my mom got an attitude and was like, "What money? Do you mean my money?" At this point, my wife got annoyed and tried to drop it. But my mom told my wife that she needs to pick her words carefully because that sounded kind of like a gold digger. My wife looked at me to defend her, and I normally do, but honestly, I get what my mom was saying. Also, she said it sounds like, which I feel is different from directly calling her a gold digger. My wife asked me if I was going to say anything, and I said to let the conversation go and that money was never my money. My mom proceeded to get pissy about how she feels my wife thinks we are getting that money to will, and that would need to have no expectations because she has put a lot of thought into it. At this point, I told my mom to drop it as well. I thought the rest of the day went fine, but when we got home, my wife was upset with me and said I should have defended her. She feels it was worse because the kids were there and I set a bad precedent. I'm torn, but just in regards to the money, I get what my mom was saying. Now for the comments. You're the a-hole. Your wife was empathizing with you and you demonstrated exactly the mindset she was being critical of. And Opie inadvertently told his wife she sounds like a gold digger for empathizing with him. And that's okay because they didn't say/think she is one directly. My significant other's parents were like this. Just poured money and opportunities on his sister but kicked him out at 17 and shipped him off into the military. Didn't even bother to teach him basic skills. If I stood up for him and he didn't have my back, I would have gone nuclear. You're the a-hole, OP. A big a-hole. Give your wife a hug for me and tell her I'm sorry she got such awful in-laws. You're the a-hole. Both you and your mother. Your wife was talking about your family having the appearance of wealth. That must have attracted some sleazy women who are only interested in that. She obviously wasn't referring to her own interest in your mother's death or inheritance or whatever your dark minds went to. The fact that you both jumped to conclusions reminds me that wealth does not bring class. You're the a-hole. Your wife was just making an observation. She never said that she dated you because of the money. I don't see why your mom immediately jumped in with attitude about her money. And then your wife tried to drop it and your mom wouldn't let it go. So yeah, I think you should have defended her. Unless you actually do think she married you for your money, which you say you don't have. I don't. But the language about the money has been a point of contention for years. And two people refused to speak to my wife because she continuously used the words family money. I'd say the phrase family money is 40% of the reason my mother doesn't really speak to me these days. And I've talked to my wife about how she needs to not think about it as my money because it will never be mine again. But you were raised in a wealthy family. For a good chunk of your life, it was family money. You had opportunities and an upbringing that a lot of kids only dream of. Even if you were not benefiting from these things now, how is your wife supposed to refer to this wealth you experienced? Is your mom only angry that she's not being credited as owning the money? Is your wife making presumptuous statements that you will one day inherit the money? I don't get it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister's boyfriend she actually couldn't draw? Hey guys, I'm 16 female and my sister Amy is 18 female. My sister and I are really close. We are rather similar too. Example, having the same interests. But what made me different from her was that I love art, and I'm an artist. Drawing is what I'm best at, and I spend several hours a day drawing. Amy never cared for art, and she isn't good at it. For background, 4 months ago, Amy was forced by her form teacher to join an art festival. Since she couldn't draw, she begged me to draw something for her. I accepted under the condition that she wouldn't flaunt this art outside of the festival as hers. I spent over 80 hours drawing my best work, and Amy was overjoyed. She won gold in the festival, and I was really happy. Now, about 2 months ago, Amy found a boyfriend, long distance. He loves art, so she told him she was an artist. He actually never asked for a picture of her drawings until now, because he asked for a picture a few days ago. Amy, without asking for my permission, showed the art I made for her festival. He was amazed and said she was a professional artist. The funny thing is, Amy actually never told me any of these things. Her birthday was yesterday and her boyfriend posted something really sweet on Instagram for her. He made a slideshow of her pictures, and guess what? One of the pictures was the art from the festival, as well as another of my work. I felt really hurt and confused. I'll admit that I was jealous. The post was full of comments amazed by her artistic talent, and well, I just felt betrayed. This is where I might be the a-hole. In a fit of disbelief, I messaged her boyfriend and said that the art, they were all my works. I had pictures of me drawing those, and I showed him. He was shocked and mad at Amy for lying to him. He ended up telling her he needed time to reconsider their relationship, as he thinks trust is the most important factor. She found out what I did and went berserk. She yelled at me for destroying her relationship and making her seem like a liar. She said because of my jealousy, I made her lose her boyfriend. She went to stay at a friend's house, and I feel really freaking guilty. Amy was so happy with her boyfriend that I could have kept my anger in check. However, my mom told me it wasn't my fault and that Amy messed up her own relationship. Am I the a-hole? So your sister is a liar and she's angry at you for outing her as a liar? Definitely not the a-hole. I hope you guys patch things up. But if you play silly games, you win silly prizes. I think anyone would be rightfully upset about their siblings stealing their art and attempting to pass it off as their own. Mad at Amy for lying to him. He ended up telling her he needed time to reconsider their relationship, as he thinks trust is the most important factor. I think that's a wise choice on his part. That's the thing with liars. You cannot ever know if anything they say is true. I would think, well, if they're comfortable lying, claiming someone else's art is theirs, what else will they lie about? You're not the a-hole and didn't make your sister seem like a liar. She is a liar. Yeah. Just follow up with, how did I make you seem like a liar? Because her only answer is, because you exposed my lie, or some version of the same. Update. Am I the a-hole for leaving my fiancé after I learned there were strippers at her bachelorette party? Original post. What the title reads basically, I, 29 male, and my ex-fiancé, 29 female, were together for 5 years. We should have been married now in the normal conditions, but I broke up with her and canceled the wedding 2 days before it, because they invited male strippers to bachelorette party. I am personally not a fan of these parties, but reluctantly agreed after both groom and bride side confirmed we would keep it simple. I told my ex-fiancé I am not comfortable with strippers or other kind of crazy things. She agreed. I also told my friends if they were to do a stupid thing without me knowing, we would have problems. We stayed at my friend's summer house and chilled there by the pool, did some World of Warcraft raids and played board games. My ex-fiancé and her friends went to a restaurant, then rented an Airbnb. There was no problem during the night. The next day, I asked how things went. She and her close friend said it was really chill and good. We returned to the city center after that. I encountered another bridesmaid that day when I was shopping for a bracelet for my ex-fiancé for her upcoming birthday. I asked that girl how's everything, as we were in the same department at a college but rarely talk now. She's closer with my fiancé than me. She said it's going good, and last night was crazy with all the strippers. After saying that, she looked uncomfortable. I asked her about the details, but she was not willing to tell much. I think she realized she should not have talked about it.
I laughed, said goodbye and left. I confronted my fiancé and she seemed surprised about it. She was denying it first, then told me nothing crazy happened and one of the bridesmaids invited strippers. I reminded her that it was a strict boundary for me. I asked about the details, but she said there was nothing much with strippers, just solo dances and that's it. I told her I need some time to think. Almost all of the bridesmaids messaged me ensuring nothing happened when I was on my way back home, which is definitely not coordinated. Things happened after that, but in the end I decided to break up and cancel the wedding. I lost some money since it was only 2 days before the wedding. Things are not cool right now. My head is messed up, I get criticism from everyone, and no idea about what to do. My sister told me to see a therapist to process my thoughts and feelings. That is what I'll do next. Some mutual suggested me that I should reconsider things and stop being so whiny about such a small thing. I do not think it's such a small thing, especially when they all try to hide it from me. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. It was crazy with all the strippers is hugely different from it was really chill and good. This isn't just lying, this is a total reversal of the truth. Even her it was just solo dances is not the same as crazy. So they are lying. All of them, except the first one. And there's a wild double standard too. The fact that a bunch of mutuals contacted him and said to stop being whiny over nothing is telling. If roles were reversed, the mutuals would be offering to help the bride to be burned down the groom's house. Roles reversed? Bro, even my friends would burn me to a crisp for cheating on my girlfriend. It's not something anyone's friend should endorse or support. Both men and women can cover for their friends' infidelity. From my experience, the difference is men will lie by omission and just never bring it up. Women will actively lie and create cover for the cheater. A man's lie is that he was at Tony's house. A woman's lie is, it's your baby. Chris Rock. This is strangely similar to something that happened recently on 90 Day Fiancé. Because this happens a lot. Some people think that cheating in a bachelorette party is okay. It's so dumb. Oh yeah, a buddy of mine had a job programming POS system and most of it was in restaurants and hospitality. Traveled to many bachelor/bachelorette destinations and this topic came up a bunch. Pretty much all the bartenders/waitstaff said that it's more often the bachelorette parties that are wilder and have a significantly higher rate of infidelity than male bachelor parties. They said many of them just flat out come knowing they're going to cheat on their soon-to-be husband and that some of the other girls cheating on their partners. It's rarely a, we drank too much and got caught up in the moment. In college, I along with my roommate worked out at a gym full of steroid dudes in the late 80s. Got to know a couple of guys. They were also strippers and asked if we could set props for them when they danced. Both the male and female dancers. 100% of the bachelorette parties had at least one person to hook up with the dudes. The bachelor parties were tame in comparison, mainly due I think because the female dancers didn't go along with that for the most part. At least 2 of those dudes took penicillin daily, 80s, because they kept catching STDs. Yuck. Update. I read most of the comments in the original post and thank you for the advice. My problem was not her being blindsided by her friends, but lying. Every bridesmaid told different things, and none of them gave details about what happened. I believe you can understand it just shatters the trust and makes you think there is something going on. I thought there was something wrong with me after reading the comments. There were a lot of YTAs, and I thought I should apologize. One of the bridesmaids reached out to me last evening. I suspect she saw the post somewhere and recognized it. I knew my fiancé was having problems with her friends since last week, but I did not know the extent. Apparently, my ex-fiancé and her close friends blamed the girl that I encountered at the mall about everything. This divided the group and led into a verbal fight. I will skip the personal details here, but in the end, she told me my ex-fiancé and other bridesmaids got sexual with the strippers. My fiancé was the only one who had boyfriend/fiancé/spouse there, at least monogamously, to my knowledge. Also, I was told by her that my ex-fiancé was not blindsided with stripper invites. She was happy to see the strippers and was relieved she had an excuse. I do not have proof for all of these, but I got a short video of girls making out with strippers. One of the girls is my ex-fiancé and that's enough. She has been trying to reach out to me since we broke up. I confronted her again. At first, she denied it again. Then it became we just touched. Then okay, we kissed too. Okay, I gave him a hand job. Finally, I was coerced into doing these by others as I pressed on. I just blocked her after the last part. I did not see any need to learn further. I was hurt already, but learning that I got cheated on hurt more. I am not sure if it is the full truth even now. I will never know, but all I can say is it hurts. I will go to a therapist to not carry my luggage to my next relationship. I lost 15K from the wedding-related things. I need to focus on filling the hole for a while. Some of the people told me I am an insecure and funny nerd for playing World of Warcraft on my bachelor party. Isn't the whole point of bachelor parties having one last fun? It was raiding non-stop with the boys for me, not having one last actual interaction with a stranger, or having a stranger's butt on my face for peace. I will not miss out on these during marriage anyways, omitting the stranger part. That's it. It's therapy time tomorrow and thank you for the help. I will never understand why people like your ex-fiancé throw it all away for one night. Because they do not want to be married. They want to have that special day and be the center of attention. They want the wedding, but not the marriage. She belongs to the streets. I have a cousin that did this. She explained to me she really never believed the other guy wouldn't leave her because she loved her way too much. She really thought true love in the fairy tale land will conquer all. Delusional, she still thinks he is wrong and should come back to her and marry. She cheated on him, and she expected him to be the one to beg on his knees? Yep, he loved her for a decade prior, and she said that she thought he would forgive her for anything, because she would forgive him for anything. Even now in her My Disneyland, she says love should overcome all. I almost envy her to be 34 and still have that thought process. But multiple women in my family agreed with her, that if he truly and unconditionally loved her, he would have worked through it. I got a short video of girls making out with strippers. One of the girls is my ex-fiancé and that's enough. I've been to a dozen bachelorette parties, and not one has turned out like this, which makes me truly grateful for the quality of the people in my life. I was at a bar with coworkers and some of their spouses and partners. A bride-to-be was calling one of my woman coworkers lame and a loser. The reason? The bride wanted to kiss my coworker's husband during her last night of freedom. Her husband said no. The bride-to-be pleaded with my coworker to change her husband's mind. A portion of the bachelorette party bag too. Like you, I remain glad none of the people in my life are like this. I hate this last night of freedom BS. You're getting married, not going to prison. And if you think getting married has cost you something you hadn't already chosen to forfeit by being in a monogamous relationship for however long, then you shouldn't be married, or possibly in monogamous relationships. Next story. Am I the a-hole for moving on so quickly after my husband left me? My 47 female husband, 47 male, asked for a separation on our 14th anniversary while we were away in a foreign country to celebrate. While we weren't as close as we used to be, we almost never fought, and generally enjoyed each other's company and families. We did not have any children. The night before our anniversary, he brought up he wasn't very happy in the relationship but didn't know why. The next morning, I asked to see his phone and he said no. He said I would find flirty messages with one or more other women on it. He had made some female friends through school and work and he said he felt like there might be someone out there who was better fit for him. I said I did not want to do a trial separation, as I don't believe you can work on something if you aren't living together. If he wanted to separate, it would be final. He understood, but said it was something he had to do. After being away for only 2 days, we rebooked our flights home, flew home, and he packed some belongings and left. 7 days later, he asked to come home and we started marriage counseling. He had a lot of trouble admitting he had at least one emotional affair. The counseling was not helpful. He was defensive and not open to it. I suspect something physical happened with the other woman, but I do not have any proof. He had deleted all his flirty texts, Snapchat, etc., so I could not see them. After 4 weeks of living together again and attending counseling sessions, he decided he no longer wanted to try to save the marriage, and he was leaving. He packed up and left a few hours later. He stayed with a friend, found a new apartment, and signed a 1-year lease. I was devastated and even had to take time off work to process what had happened and attend individual counseling. But after the 4 weeks, I started to feel a bit better. I went out for drinks with a group of 4 coworkers that live in my area and found I really enjoyed one of them, 42 male, a lot. I'd only met him over Zoom before this. We started seeing each other a couple times a week. Quite quickly, it grew into a truly amazing, loving relationship. I've stayed in counseling throughout, as it wasn't easy to process the sudden ending of my long-term marriage at the same time as beginning something new. It's been about 7 months now. My ex-husband eventually decided he wanted to try to save the marriage again, but I declined. He says I'm the a-hole for starting a new relationship so quickly, within 6 weeks of him leaving. Our relationship was over as I can no longer trust him, and he has hurt me immensely. I do not want a relationship with someone I cannot trust. Am I the a-hole for moving on? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He left you twice. I guess you were supposed to just sit around wallowing in tears while he went off doing whatever and whoever until he was ready to come back to you. I love this for her. I'm so glad she was able to show him that she wasn't pining away. I love even more that that wasn't OP's intent even. OP was just living her life and found somebody who appreciates her. Message to the OP here. How is that even a question? He ruins your anniversary trip, is very likely to have cheated and dated other people after the marriage ended. He wanted to end the marriage. Then out of nowhere he says he wants to save the marriage after he destroyed it? Then says you're an a-hole for dating someone when you were single. I refuse to answer this question. He's the sour on the a-holes. Don't forget, on what was supposed to be a romantic trip, he literally said he thinks there is someone better out there for him. Like, I'm not even OP, and it hurts to see those words. So imagine hearing that from your spouse of 14 years. He wanted to break OP, make her beg, make her realize she can't do any better, so he can step out of marriage whenever he wants while she stays put, waiting for him to come home. He didn't realize that there are better men out there who value women and truly love them. X wanted a safe net, but now he realized that he just gotta be single and miserable for the rest of his life, that he did a favor to OP by leaving, so she can find a better man for her. Let him go out and play houses with whoever women, and divorce his butt ASAP. Not a-hole. He literally said he felt there'd be a better woman for him somewhere. He's cheated on you probably multiple times, so he doesn't have the right to be mad at you for moving on when he couldn't even stay faithful to you. He can't try to get rid of you and want you again. Not a-hole. He wanted out, and you let him out. He has no claim on you. He may have realized that he messed up, but that is not something that you need to help him recover from. He gets to sleep in the bed that he chose to make for himself. I wouldn't respond at all to him unless you want to respond with laughing emojis. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my mom and my sister's wedding? So for some background, my mom left me 24 male and my twin sister 24 female when we were 6, and it screwed with us for a long time. We used to have to get therapy sessions because the way she left was so jarring for the both of us. 16 years later, sometime after our 22nd birthday, she reached out, saying she wanted to make up for lost time and that she was sorry. I wasn't up with that idea, but my sister was. My sister decided to go ahead and give her a second chance, and I never gave her grief on that. But she always hassled me, saying I should hear her out and that she's our mother. And to that, I humbly declined. I told my sister that our mother doesn't get to decide when she wants to be in or out of our lives, and that she doesn't get to clear her conscience with me because my time is worth way more. My sister respected that for the most part. Flash forward to now on my sister's wedding. She told me before that our mom was gonna be a part of the wedding, and I didn't make a big deal because it was her wedding. And if she wants that woman to be there, then who am I to say no? I just told her me and her would most definitely wouldn't be communicating at the event, and she was okay with that because she knows that that's my way of keeping the peace. At the rehearsal dinner, everyone showed up and had a good time, but my mom kept trying to engage in conversation. I ignored her and tried to keep away from her. My mother then decides to corner me with this victim spiel, saying that she wasn't ready to be a mom at a time and that she just wants a relationship with me, and how she didn't understand why I didn't want to talk to her. Now, mind you, I always said I understand that she wasn't ready to be a mom, but that doesn't mean I have to be okay with being abandoned, nor do I owe her that luxury of being forgiven. I told her to leave me alone and respect that I don't want to get to know her or be in her life. She started crying and making a whole scene, and said she couldn't come to the wedding anymore. My sister is saying I ruined her chance to have her mom at her wedding, and that I couldn't put my petty pride aside for her. All I could tell her is that her mom made a decision not to show up for her, That has nothing to do with me. The wedding isn't about me. So am I the a-hole here? She's still choosing herself over you and or your sister. If she really cared about you and your feelings and your sister's, she would have allowed you the space to come to her on your own, and she would have attended the wedding. But she had to show her true colors. That it's always been about what she wants. I'm sorry for that. I hope you had a good childhood despite her. Hugs to you, not the a-hole. This times 100. Your mom is being selfish and entitled, and she's hurting her daughter again. I'd like to tell your sister that she tried to build a relationship, but she did all the work. It was not fair, and I hope that one day her mom recognizes what she did. I doubt it because it's more comfortable to be the victim than to take responsibility. She's just as selfish now as she was when she left. She's learned nothing. Absolutely not the a-hole. Your mother has some nerve. And you are right. She has yet again abandoned your sister. You did nothing wrong and don't owe that woman anything. I'm sorry for your sister, but she's mad at the wrong person. Mini update. I appreciate all the comments. My sister didn't uninvite me because she knows that I love her regardless of any situation, and I'll show up anyway. But she has expressed she was really hurt by our mother opting out. I had to sit her down and tell her to talk to that woman because it makes no sense for her to not come just because I don't want to talk to her. My sister is calm now, but I'll keep everyone updated.
Update. Am I the a-hole for getting hurt and upset over a harmless prank that my husband pulled? Original post. So me and my husband have been married for 5 years. We are currently female 24 and male 33. Way before we met when I was 16, my mom's house had a house fire that burnt literally everything down. And sadly, my childhood cat was also killed in it. I remember my mom and brother waking me up screaming, "Fire! Fire! Get up! Get up!" We crawled out under the smoke, and luckily my neighbors had already called the fire department and they pulled us out. We lost literally everything. We were devastated. So that was a while ago, but it still really scares me. And I checked outlets and our stove and candles and everything all the time. My husband knows this about me. So 2 nights ago, I went to bed early because I am currently 34 weeks pregnant, literally about to pop. I was sleeping for a while before, for some reason, my husband decided to wake me up by yelling, "Baby, there's a fire! Fire, fire, fire! Get up!" As quick as I could get up at 34 weeks, I did, and grabbed my purse. I was just in automatic shock and just autopilot and knew what I needed what to grab. I made it all the way down the stairs, yelling for my husband to follow me before he started laughing and telling me it was a joke. It took a minute for that to process. I stood there with an open mouth while he laughed and ushered me down the rest of the stairs. I sat down on the couch and just started sobbing. It was genuinely the hardest I've ever sobbed. It's like I couldn't get myself to stop, and my whole body was shaking. My heart was racing and I couldn't breathe. I have never had this experience before. I was genuinely so panicked. I was so freaking upset. My husband apologized and was like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. It was just a joke." I just cried until he eventually was like, "What the heck? It was just a prank. This is really dramatic." After a few hours, I had calmed myself down and went to apologize to him. He wouldn't take it. He said I was being overdramatic and made him feel like crap for a harmless prank. So I guess, am I the a-hole? I've never been good at taking jokes. I've been trying to be less sensitive, but I don't know. Not the a-hole. What the heck is wrong with him? Using your past trauma for a prank? What the heck is wrong with him for making an expectant mother fear for her life just for shits and giggles? What the heck is wrong with him for putting the burden of guilt on you when his life and death joke made you upset? What the heck is he thinking, making a half-asleep, very pregnant, probably off-balance, and terrified woman rush downstairs? The stress and adrenaline could have sent her into early labor. OP should let him know his prank endangered her and the baby. Dramatic for her crying? He's lucky still breathing after pulling that despicable stunt. The adrenaline and cortisol released actually does affect the baby.
There are studies that prove that too many of these hormones during pregnancy can cause the baby to have lifelong health issues, including and not limited to neurological issues, gastrointestinal issues, heart health, mental health, etc. And then the husband is going to cry because OP is making him feel guilty. Because the whole entire world revolves around him. If he has to feel guilty for a minute for doing something super crappy to his pregnant wife, well, damn it, he's going to turn that right around on her as fast as he possibly can. It's like her past traumas there just for shit and giggles in his mind. And pregnancy hormones aren't even a thing he's remotely aware of. OP should take a break from her husband, at least until she can get this baby born, because this is just sick. No, you're absolutely not the a-hole. That wasn't a harmless prank when he knows your past trauma. It also wouldn't have been a harmless prank even without that trauma, because you are pregnant. The adrenaline spike from something like that could have easily sent you into preterm labor. And while I'm sure you feel ready to pop, you're not yet full term, and the baby's lungs are the last to develop. He's definitely the a-hole, but more than that, that was psychological abuse. It was not a prank. It was not funny, and it very well could have done physical harm as well. And now he's trying to gaslight you into thinking that you're the problem? Please be very careful and keep yourself safe. When I read what he did, my first thought was, this is not a harmless prank. I know babies can survive outside of the womb at 34 weeks, but the risk of complications is so high at this stage still. He literally put his wife and child's lives at risk for a joke that isn't even funny. Now for the update. A month ago, I posted my first post, which is still up on my account. I was terrified and hurt and confused, and the comments really helped me sort through everything going on. A week after that incident, I went into preterm labor and gave birth to my baby at 35 weeks. A week after that, my husband beat me unconscious when he caught me Googling the signs of an abusive marriage after he coerced me into 6 weeks postpartum. Today, I filed for divorce and secured a restraining order on him. My husband will never lay a hand on me or my baby ever again. I cannot confidently say that I would have made that decision without the help of my original post, so thank you so very much. I think maybe people do not realize how much you can help a stranger on the internet, but you can. And all of you did. I will be the woman who leaves after the first time. I will be the best mother I can be, and that starts with leaving him. Thank you. Holy crap. That went from 0 to 1 million in an instant. Glad you're out of there. Never look back. I know, right? That beat me unconscious segment was such a random shock. Freaking hell. What a POS. Unfortunately, that kind of escalation is common. Women are in the greatest danger when they leave. It's why so many people give tips like, don't let him know what you're planning. Set aside some money, get everything ready, leave when he's not home. This guy had major red flags. Once she started to see them, he stopped with the manipulation and psychological tactics and moved on to the physical tactics. OMG, a week after? I am so sorry this happened. I had stitches, so I could hardly go to the bathroom. I couldn't imagine having sex. I'm so glad to hear you're safe and got out quickly. Smart move. Good luck, OP. Same. I read that and did a full body cringe. It took way more than the 6 weeks for it to not hurt down there. He's such a piece of crap. I hope you had him charged with assault as well. To protect your future custody, please press charges. If you don't, he could easily get visitation and possibly 50-50 custody. You do not want to have to co-parent with this POS. Having documents that show you pressed charges, even if they don't stick, can go a long way. Amen. As a DV victim who has children with my abuser, yes, you have to do this to protect your children. I didn't get the chance to because I did not take pictures or file a report with the police. I also didn't think he would ever hurt my children. Now he plays the same mind games and is so mean to my children. I fear for their lives every time they are with him. Please, please, please listen to this advice to protect your peace and child's life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for locking my girlfriend out of the basement so I could eat in peace? I am 39 and male. My girlfriend is 41. We have lived together for a bit over a year in my house. During the time that I have lived with my girlfriend, I've become very used to the fact that she really seems to distress by complaining. Much of this complaining is about other people in her life, such as her mother and her former co-workers, but much of this complaining is about me and how I'm not meeting her expectations in one way or another. I'm generally fine listening to her rant and will make all the appropriate motions to show that I'm listening. But a few months back, her complaining increased significantly in frequency. Again, I'm happy to listen to her, but the one time that I do not want to listen to complain is when I'm eating. Breakfast time isn't an issue because she's still asleep when I eat it. And lunchtime is fine because I work 6 days a week and I'm out for lunch. But I would really love nothing more than to just have a quiet dinner. It's especially irritating because she gets upset when I don't answer her fast enough, even when I'm chewing. She'll start saying, "Hello, hello, hello, are you even listening?" as I try to swallow the food quickly and answer her. I expressed this to her a few months back. I put it as nicely as possible with the excuse that I don't do well with talking during mealtime. If anything, it has had the opposite effect. I'm convinced that she's actually timing her complaints to begin when I start eating dinner now. While I'm making my dinner, she'll be quiet. And when I sit down waiting for it to cool, she'll be quiet. But once the fork reaches my mouth, she'll immediately start complaining. Last Saturday, I told her that I couldn't deal with her complaining during dinner time anymore, and that if she did it again, I would start eating elsewhere. She responded, "Yeah, okay, fine." Then she sat down at the table and stared at me. When I took my first bite, she said, "Oh, by the way, today you kicked one of my shoes when you were putting yours on. It made me feel like you only care about your own things and not mine." I stood up and went down to the basement to eat, locking the door behind me. I've taken to doing this for every day since, and she'll bang on the door at times. At other times, she has demanded I give her a key, as I have the only copy. Today she was literally crying and begging me to eat dinner at the table, but I said no. Now she's threatening to take the door off its hinges while I'm at work, so I know I have to lock it from the outside before going tomorrow. Am I in the wrong here? Now for the comments. This is so toxic. Please end this ASAP. I was reading and wondering why it has taken him this long to just tell her, "Shut up and we are done. Move out ASAP." I don't like whiny people at the best of times. When it is my me time, which I have pointed out, I find them intolerable to the extreme. Because people who avoid conflicts, people pleasers, and people who are too friendly often end up in abusive relationships. They just never learn to stand up to themselves. And then when you start standing up, they don't like it and get nastier. Why are you with someone this miserable? I cannot imagine listening to someone complain every mealtime, all day, every day. Are you really going to do this for the next 20 years or more? Yikes, not the a-hole. It's not even about her being miserable. It's more about her engaging in emotional abuse. A partner who constantly complains and blames is abusive. I can completely understand someone might want to confront a partner for one reason or another at times, but the fact that she actually decided to go into a tirade about him accidentally kicking her shoe when he put his own shoes on just shows she'll complain about literally anything. There's also the fact that even after he asked her to stop for the short time it takes him to eat dinner, she completely ignored him and intentionally timed her complaining for when she knew he didn't want to listen to it. I cannot understand why some people in this post seem to think OP is wrong. I know this doesn't apply to you, but some people are suggesting that this is his fault. The man is in an abusive relationship. The time to leave was ages ago, but now is the second best time. When someone threatens to take a door off its hinges, the relationship is over. You locked her out of the basement. That's a good first step. Now do the same with the rest of your house. Be careful, or she might threaten to take the front door off its hinges too, lol. He better takes that serious, as she sounds like a professional of unhinge. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-wife's new husband to leave me alone and focus on her being obsessed with me? I, 33 male, was married to my ex-wife Cindy for about 6 years until I found out that she was having an affair with her current husband Jake. And they got married immediately after our divorce was final. Now that you lovely folks are caught up, let's get to the issue. Last week, my ex texted me out of the blue and was telling me she's unhappy with her husband. I simply ignored the messages until her husband Jake showed up to my house ready to fight me because he saw what my ex-wife sent me. Mind you, I hadn't even viewed the messages, so I decided to view them. And the messages were basically videos of her twerking naked that I showed her husband and told him, "You need to be more angry with your wife because you noticed I didn't even respond, but you over here mad at me." He left after that, and behold, the witch in question is now mad at me. So am I the a-hole? This incident didn't require a post is what I think. I disagree. If Opie never posted this, I never would have had the opportunity to give Opie the following advice. Opie, your only option here is to assert dominance. Make your own naked twerking videos and send them to the husband. It's the only way to resolve this. Nah, raise the bar. Send one to him where you're staring very intensely at the camera while furiously self-pleasuring to a video. Not a-hole. Oh geez, an unfaithful ex-wife is looking to step out of her new marriage? Who would have guessed? In other news, the sky is blue and water is wet. How you get them is how you lose them. Cheaters are gonna cheat. Affair partners don't win in the competition. They're just a layover point until the next affair. Not the a-hole. So, she's realizing her soulmate, fantasy prince, white knight isn't so great after all. The affair partner, now husband, was a fool to get involved with her in the first place. Not only was she cheating on you with him, she was also cheating on him with you. Just your mere existence in her life was enough. She was cheating on two men at the same time. Next time you see the fool, tell him that and thank him for taking her off your hands. If they will cheat with you, they will cheat on you too. And she already has. She's his adulterous problem now and not to bother you anymore. You need to block her everywhere. If you have children together, use a parenting app for communication about the children only. If no kids involved, block them both everywhere on everything. You're divorced now. There is no reason to keep lines of communication open with her anymore, unless children are involved. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not staying up to book my girlfriend a taxi? My girlfriend was going out with friends on Saturday. There was an event on at the club in town, so they were going for food and then a few drinks, then going to the club. She asked what I was planning for the evening, and I said I'd likely just have a couple of drinks, order some food and play video games, and watch Netflix and have a nice chilled night. She got a bit annoyed and said she might have asked me to pick her up, but I can't if I'm drinking. I said she could always get a taxi like she usually does. She asked if I'd book it for her, and I said I would if I was awake, but that there's a good chance I'll already be asleep. She said I should wait up then, but I just pointed out the club night finishes at 3 a.m., so I'm not waiting up until 3 just to possibly book a taxi. I pointed out she's more than capable of sorting out her own taxis. She said she wasn't asking for much and that it's only one night, but I just said she can't expect me to sit around waiting for her. She just said again that she wasn't asking for much and I should be fine with helping her. I told her again to text me when she's finished, and if I'm awake, I'll book a taxi. But if not, she's more than capable of booking it herself, or getting a friend to book it. Am I the a-hole for not staying up to book a taxi? Who broke her arms and fingers and mobile device? Why can't she book it herself? Pretty sure you can book a taxi ahead of time too. At least where I live you can. Not a-hole. She is though. I'm thinking she wants the power play here. Basically, she is trying to see if he would fold on a night she is off having fun out with her friends, while he is sitting at home by the window waiting to book a taxi to come back to him. I'm actually petty enough that I would not book it, but will also still be awake when she gets back. Whatever she says to that, my response would be, you did it yourself and got yourself home and the world did not stop spinning. Also, isn't this what Uber was designed for? Helping drunk partygoers get home? Not a-hole OP, but your girlfriend sounds a bit like a piece of work. My limited view at all. If she can manage to get into a club, she can manage to call her own damn cab. Not the a-hole. Bro, she just doesn't want to pay. I don't think it's gold digging. I think it's game playing. Sometimes people, especially younger ones, will either with full awareness and deliberation or unconsciously come up with little tests and tasks for the people they are dating to do to prove their love and devotion to them.